Hello, welcome to this new channel. New beginning, new me, new you, new cycle, hopefully. That is really the core of what this channel is going to be. Hopefully that is the vision. It's taken me quite a while to get my head clear about where I want to take it. But we are going to look at these moments, which are defining moments. And usually these defining moments are not easy. They're challenging. We call them a crisis, a challenge, or worse. But they break us down. But through any breakdown comes a breakthrough. And hopefully this is what we are going to help people journey towards, navigate through. From crisis to compassion, to connection, to courage and consciousness. Yes, we are going to talk about these serious topics and take them to the next level. Next level, what do I mean by this? Next level is really looking at the bigger picture. Bigger picture, why? Because when we are going through a crisis and we are focused on the one little crisis element and we are just seeing only this, we're missing everything which is out there. And I'm not saying that in a judgmental way, because disclaimer number one, the first thing which I'm going to make very, 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 very obvious is that there's no way I'm ever going to coerce, force any of my ideas on anybody else, or I should even have the arrogance to say that what I'm saying is the absolute truth. As we're going to see, there might be a truth in the divine levels, but here, as truth is being manifested, there are so many different truths according to everybody, but there's no my truth, your truth, one is better, one is worse, right or wrong, none of this. We are just doing the best we can. And when it comes to crisis, these defining moments just throw us at the deep end of that survival pool where it feels like you're drowning. And that's where you start. But obviously, when we are going through it, we don't know what's going to happen and how we're going to navigate through it. Obviously, when it comes to something like cancer, and which is going to be one of our main topic. Once you're going through it, it is tough, it is brutal, it is terrifying, especially at the beginning, especially after that defining moment where you are given that diagnosis. I'm sorry, you have cancer. And I know what it feels like because I've been through it myself. And that's the exact words that I was actually given. And I remember that consultant looking at me thinking, oh, she's not crying. She's not sobbing. She's asking me questions. And I got answers which were not at all the answers I was looking for. But anyway, I came out of that little room, white clinical room in the hospital. My life was on freeze mode, because that's what happened when we're thrown into the deep end of the survival, stress, extreme stress, trauma, frozen. And the world carried on ticking. It was the first time I felt like this. Obviously, I had gone through trauma before. We've all experienced trauma. But that cancer diagnosis takes us to something really deep, really scary. And on top of that, we've all been impacted by that dis-ease. Directly, indirectly, losing loved ones, or loved ones going through it, or you have gone through it. And it's scary when it first falls on you. what I was aware of was the fact that 3 weeks prior, life was normal with the ups and the downs were annoying. And suddenly, 3 weeks later, I would have loved to go back to these little downs, which from that new perspective looked trivial, looked so mundane. But there I was, in a situation where suddenly my life was on hold. And when you're at the beginning of that diagnosis, it's going to take a few weeks before you know exactly where you're at, exactly how bad it is. Tests after tests, waiting for results. And there you are, with your loved ones, with your friends. You cry, everybody cries. When you tell somebody you have cancer, it is so emotional. Just reminding it, just remembering it, I'm getting emotional as well, because everybody looks at you with terror, with that uncertainty of how long you're going to be around. And it takes some time to get back on your feet, because initially you're thrown, at the deep end of that pool and it feels like you're drowning. But after a while, you just go, oh, what? Wait a minute. It's okay. I can breathe. I can breathe. I can breathe. Oh, and actually, I know how to swim. Oh, and actually, ooh, I'm going through currents there. Well, I can let myself go with the flow. Oh, and actually, if I go with the flow, I go much faster. And surely, at some point, you realize that you're on the other side. And you look back. That's where I am now. That's where I am now, getting emotional, actually. And you look back and you go, what? That was intense. That was big. Oh, I don't wish it on anybody, but once you've got through it, you've looked at the bigger picture, you've realized that you had skills, you could swim, you've realized that you had to let go of what didn't serve you anymore and follow or go with the flow. And suddenly you liberate yourself and you get to the other side and you're a different person. And you tell people, you know what? I've changed so much that now, because I'm safe, because I've gone through it, I've grown through it, I'm grateful for this. Of course, I do realize that some people do not go through it. It is the end for them, and that is tragic, especially when a person is young, and we've all lost, and I have lost relatives and friends. But we're not here to focus on that. We honor these people, we honor their lives, we honor what they brought to this earth, and we honor the ones who are left, the grief that they might feel, that they might experience, and hopefully how they can find a way to look at the bigger picture and remember that the gift of the existence of your loved one is something to cherish daily. We are here on this channel to focus on the ones who are going through it, and hopefully we are going to bring support, we are going to bring ideas, we are going to bring guidance and tips, we are going to bring testimonials of people who have done it before you, and I'm going to interview them through what I've called the Healing Journey Chronicles. We are going to present the Healing Modality Chronicles, all the things that you can do on top of the potentially main approach and healing modality that you choose. And in no way are we going to judge. Some people like 100% conventional, some people like 100% alternative complementary, and some people like a mix. Who cares? As long as you heal yourself, that's the most important thing. So healing journey, and we'll bring experts, people who are going to explain how the brain works, how the mind works, how the emotion works, how the body works, nutrition, and all of this. A lot of people are already doing it, and it's amazing. And I feel so grateful because I was actually looking for these inspiring videos, looking for testimonials that would make, remind me, reassure me that I was going to be okay. That's the most important thing, to remind yourself that you're still here, you're still alive. You can still have a cup of tea with a friend, and hopefully you can still go for a walk with your family. You can still do these little things that maybe before you kind of looked at as not, necessarily exciting. Suddenly everything changes and you realize that life is sacred. That there's dinners with your friends, drinking a bit, having good foods and laughing are a gift to be absolutely cherished. It changes everything. And in a way, that is a gift that we need to find in this adventure. I'm not saying in any way that it's going to be easy, because I arrived, or I started that journey with the knowledge that I'm going to be sharing. So I feel that I had an advantage. I knew a lot about nutrition. I knew a lot about detoxification, about mindset, emotion, energy, about supplements, about the way the brain works, epigenetic, neuroscience, quantum science. I was already, doing a lot of that. I'm a kinesiologist and in systematic kinesiology. There's lots of various styles of kinesiology. So I had a lot of experience with the holistic approach, a lot of knowledge. And I've done a lot of research specifically on toxicity. So that's going to be a massive part of what we're going to do. But unfortunately, I believe that a lot of people are still looking at cancer as something which is physical. And truly, yes, it is a physical manifestation. But if we look at the next level, at the bigger picture, we take that new lens, it's easy to see that there are so many factors around the whole condition, I'm going to call it a condition, that are going to play a major part in this story, in this narrative of imbalance. I wanted to say unhealth, imbalance, right? The emotions we have, especially looking at trauma, the stress that we manage or we don't manage, if we sleep well, if we eat well, if we drink enough water, the good water, if we're hydrated enough, the environment we live in, all the limitations that we have. Do we have enough money to feel comfortable in life? Are we able to go for our dreams and what makes us tick and actually manifest what we want to do in life? Do we look after ourselves on a physical and emotional level? Are we having that good relationship with ourselves, or are we connecting with other people? Are we satisfied at work? Are we busy or not? Do we have enough work life balance, etc., etc., etc.? Of course, these are going to be the most important questions, because Einstein said it, and he gave it as the definition of insanity, and everybody quotes that insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different results. If we don't change all of these things, why would we expect the body to heal and not get into that state of imbalance again? So many questions, and things are changing. A lot of people talk about nutrition, a lot of people talk about hydration, mindset, but going into emotions, going into trauma, which is where I have specialized in my work, that is still something where a lot of people are a little bit shy, and they don't necessarily associate a physical condition with a deeper unconscious trauma or deep limitations, beliefs which don't serve us, etc., etc. In that respect, the definition of healing, according to the dictionary, is the process of making or becoming sound or healthy again. The process. And that's the beautiful word, because it is going to be a journey. Any inner transformation is a journey. Process of becoming healthy again. We could call it a return to health, which really means that health is not the state we're in. Of course, that's the definition. So we're out of balance. Interestingly, balance is what the body tries to keep at all time. It's the body is driven by homeostasis, which means, keeping balance at all times. So when something as big as a cancer arises, it really is the manifestation, and I'm using this word very, very consciously, the manifestation of something deep within, where there's an imbalance which is so deep that the immune system is in underactivity. We have cells which are there as the military, you could say, as the doctors or medical staff. They're meant to identify the cells which are not working, and they're meant to destroy them and clear them. And that is not working. So that's, the first thing. Secondly, the cells which are dysregulated, which are not functioning properly, are meant to destroy themselves. It's called cell apoptosis. This is out of balance again. It's not working. There are many, many, many layers on the physical level and on the emotional level as well, whereby the body is not working properly. Nobody absolutely knows the reason why somebody gets cancer. You look at some so seemingly healthy people, fit, not overweight, eating really well, not drinking, people who don't drink, people who don't smoke, they get cancer, and there's no logic to it, because it's such a complex disease, multi-level, multifactorial. What we know for sure is that everybody agrees, that's what we know for sure, that there's toxicity, and that toxicity is manifested on a physical level. But we can, again, looking at the bigger picture, look at toxic relationships, toxic thoughts, toxic emotions, toxic beliefs. And if we go a little deeper, we could say that all these factors contribute to the manifestation of this dis-ease. Therefore, it would be logical, or it would seem like a plausible argument, to call that condition maybe a symptom of something deeper, which is a conflict, something repressed, something limiting, something which is contracting. All of these words, toxic. So in this light, there is so much to present. And again, this might be triggering for some people, and I honor you if it triggers you. If it's not meant for you, I understand. I'm in no way forcing it on anybody, so take it or leave it. But I know, because I work with clients who have that approach, that some people are ready to have that bigger picture approach. And their question when they come to see me is, where do I start? We're going to be answering this question. Where do I start? Where you start is to, first of all, take yourself out of this survival mode as much as possible, which is pretty much 90%, 99% of the population is going to start from the brutality, from the terrifying and the absolutely unexpected effect of the diagnosis. But obviously, how long we stay in there depends on what goes on in there. And again, I'm not saying that some people are better than others. That's not what we mean. But the toolkits that we have, the resources that we have, the connections that we have, that's going to be all helpful. And if you decide that whatever main modality you use, which I would call the smaller lens, the close-up lens, you have a wide-angle lens and you look at the bigger picture and you decide to address these aspects as part of your journey, your return to health, that process, and ask yourselves these questions, these essential questions of, what is it in me that is out of balance, that is out of health, that created? So that's actually, I'm going to reframe this, because a lot of people will say, oh my God, you saying that I created the cancer, and that is very triggering for a lot of people. For myself, I feel in alignment with this, but I mean, there's no guilt in there. There's no shame in there. There's none of these lower level emotions. What I'm aware of after the work I've done on myself, I can only speak for myself, is that my beliefs, mostly my limitations, the way that I kept myself small, the way that I didn't believe in myself, the way that I didn't love myself, and some of the traumas I've experienced, some of the imbalances that were in me contributed to the development of that condition. It's a mystery, as I said. Nobody absolutely knows for sure the one trigger, because most possibly there are so many triggers, again, multi-layered, multifactorial. So if you embark on this journey like I did, and like thousands, millions of people have done before us, hopefully you will get to this point where you know it's tough. You've had some really seriously good days and bad days, but you've made it and you've grown and you've kind of gone within. Point number one, you can have somebody who has a backache and it's actually coming from the neck, or it could be inflammation. So it can be something that is aggravated with wheat or dairy or something like this. As a kinesiologist, we know that really well. We call it biochemical individuality. We're all different. What works for one person doesn't necessarily work for the other person. Your mission on your journey is to be the captain of your team and to find out what works for you. Find out what your limitations are. Find out where you can improve on. Find out what new skills you need. Find out what new knowledge, how you can educate yourself, how you can eat better, how you can drink better, water or good fluids, how you can sleep better, how you can exercise better, how you can think better, how you can feel better, how you can move better, how you can dance better, how you can play better, laugh better, connect better. All of this is part of it. So biochemical individuality, we're all different. We all have different things which we love. For some person, some person will feel absolutely fine with meditating in order to go back into that alignment and find that breath, which shifts us from the stress response to the relaxation response. For somebody, it might be exercising. For somebody, it's going to be a walk in the park. Somebody is going to be painting or doing something creative. Somebody will do gardening. All of this is very personal. So finding what works for you, bringing discernment, taking that responsibility. Unique. You are unique. And your path, your recovery, your journey is unique to you. That's point number one. I will go on and on about that because it's so important. It's not one size fits all, like the world says. It doesn't work, because if one size fitted all, we would have solved all the problem of the world. One thing works for some people and another thing work for other people, and there's no problem in this. It's like, yeah, just different. We're different. Number two, we're finishing the video with this. Number two is finding, how do you find what works for you? Follow your intuition. The majority of us, the majority of people, because I've been doing meditation for probably 25 years. I've been working on my intuition, and a lot of the people who do my type of work have gone within, do the inquiry work, and so we have inside of us an inner navigating system. We have our own GPS or inner navigating system, and it's called the gut feeling. It's called intuition, and it can be developed, and you know what works for you. If you try a supplement or a new drug, you will know if it feels okay or not within. Follow that inner resonance. Everything I say, don't take it as truth, absolute truth in no way. Question, let it go within. Drop it within there. the heart. And your heart and your gut, we have something like 2 million neurons. We have as many neurons in the gut as the brain of a dog. I can't remember the exact number. Massive amount of neurons, and even in the heart now, actually. They will know because they're not in the ego. They're not in the ego. They're not, you know, they're obviously connected to the brain, but there's not as much interference as in the brain. So you have that gut feeling. All of us have had that gut feeling at times where we didn't follow that gut feeling and we kind of, oh, it didn't go as planned, and we knew, I should have listened to myself. That's what I'm talking about. Inner resonance. And number 3, body-mind connection. Some people still question this. Again, I honor them. Neuroscience, quantum physics, epigenetics, brain neuroplasticity, psychoneuroimmunology, and the list goes on and on and on and on. They all say the same thing. What goes on in here determines who you are here. It determines, it activates or turns on the genes. It turns on the chemical cascades of hormones that is, you know, in our body. What we think here is taken by the brain as truth, because the brain doesn't have the capacity to differentiate between what's real or imagined. All of this we're going to be talking about. It's fascinating, placebo effect, all the research and stuff. There is a body-mind connection which is been researched and studied, lots, thousands of scientific peer-reviewed science. Now it's undeniable. Therefore, it really, really seems to support the idea that, yes, a dis-ease like cancer or any other crisis, what we're going to talk about can be applied to many other crises, is the manifestation of something deeper where we have the chance, I know I'm using this word cautiously, we have the opportunity to look at our life from a different lens and to really go on a journey, on a process where we're going to let go of what doesn't serve us, where we're going to change habits, where we're going to put a new lens and see life in a different way. I want to give you 2 quotes. The first one that I wrote in, I've published a book. 2 quotes which are important to finish. The first principle of true teaching is that nothing can be taught. That goes back to that inner resonance. Everything is revealed from within. You have within yourself everything you need. But most probably you haven't been listening to that deep inner voice, that inner wisdom. That was by Sri Aurobindo, an incredible, beautiful master who wrote The Adventure of Consciousness, which I read when I was about 25. That was my first massively crazy book, taking me to a different dimension. And to conclude exactly what I was saying, Joseph Campbell, The Hero's Journey. We must let go of the life we have planned so as to accept the one that is waiting for us. There is a life waiting for you. A life which is going to be bigger, better than who you are now. And for somebody like me, that quote resonated so much, and I took it as my mission to find that life. And I've got to say that as I mentioned earlier on, I am a different person, and I know so many people who are. So, bon voyage on this new journey. And if you are not yourself going through cancer, but supporting, facilitating the journey of somebody who is going through it, I know it's extremely challenging because I've been there as well. And so, you know, all the techniques we're going to talk about, all the alleviating stress and understanding what goes on and looking at trauma is going to be very helpful. I'm going to bring on some colleagues. I've got so many wonderful colleagues, beautiful colleagues, and remember that as a family member, as a friend, you are so important. Very, very important. So it's going to be a journey with some ups and downs, but that's what life is about. And if we don't engage too much with the trauma and we focus on the bigger picture, I find that it's much easier. So, bon voyage, and see you at the next stop. Thank you.